Hey, how you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz from True Investors. I'm a real estate developer, and you're about to get on an 8-part series that I'm going to go through how I actually found one house on 9 acres of land, converted it over to 41 lots, then sold it, negotiated, and sold it to KB Homes for $1.25 million. And I'm going to break this entire process down. And they did something really, really cool. They turned around and named the entire street after my family, called Cruz Court. So very, very cool. And I've actually been on the front page of the newspaper dealing with some of my developments, and just recently won an award that's over there as well, and from the city of Lakeland. It's called a beautification award from one of our developments as well. So today what you're going to jump into, and kind of the reason for this podcast is I've never actually seen anybody break down the entire process of how to actually purchase a property from one house, negotiate that deal that was on 9 acres of land, convert it to 41 house subdivision, then sell the property for $1.25 million to a national home builder. And I actually turned down a $2.5 million offer and made more money on the 1.25. So I'm going to break everything down in this 8-part series, period. So the reason why I'm doing this as well, if you're listening to this or you're watching it, is I've never seen the process broken down. So I want to do that and give you guys the play-by-play of exactly what is happening, how it happened. And so you could grab a pen, grab a paper, like really pay attention, because I'm giving you guys some raw nuggets. That was an expensive way for me to learn this entire process, but I want to show you exactly how I did it, why I did it. So then one day, hopefully you could be inspired and just do the same thing. And then you also realize if we ever work together, that now you'll know, like, this is actually how I work. So if you have a piece of property, if you have a piece of land, and you actually are like, Franklin, I want to develop it. Now you know how I work. When it comes down to the negotiation side, you're gonna see that I go through how I negotiated the deal, how I created a win-win scenario for my private money lenders, and actually how I created a win-win even when I sold it to KB Homes as well. So again, get ready. Now, probably you're thinking, well, this guy probably came from money. No, my mom passed away when I was 10 years old. I didn't meet my biological father until I was 19. I got adopted to the Cruz family, which I think is an amazing name. And, my dad always had a saying, he said, you like it, you go buy it. So I just had to figure things out. And also I'm a military veteran. So my biggest thing is I really want to showcase exactly what is the process so you can do it too. So on episode 1 or part 1 of this series, you're going to see how I actually took and negotiated with the seller from one house to 41. All right. See you on the other side. Get ready for training. Here we go. So starting off with how I found the deal as well. I call this lead to legacy. This is the Cruz Court story. So this property, again, 9 acres of land, one house on it, and it was the original owner. And then I was able to convert it to 41 houses, but it did not start off that way. So we're going to go knee deep into this story. All right. So, and then also the first house was 7187 Cruz Court. I have that in my office. Super cool. If you guys ever want to look that up, you can. So 7187 Cruz Court, Lakeland, Florida. All right. So how did I generate the lead? So if I'm looking at, to me, all deals start from lead and then it finishes to cash in bank. So we're going to go through that whole process on this one. So how I got the lead is this was a setup. What I learned was before I actually got this lead on this parcel of land, in one calendar year, I already finished 60 transactions. So 60 transactions I did face-to-face with owners and actually getting these deals under contract. At the end of the year, this deal came up. Okay. So, and there's a reason why I bring this up, because to me, I do believe that when you're ready for it, things will pop up for you, but if you're not ready, it may not pop up. And this is kind of how I'm going to go through it. So the referral was from a friend, and Daniel, you know this guy, Chris Chico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Chris sent me a text and he's like, dude, I got a lead in Lakeland. You want to, I don't know anything about Lakeland. And now the reason why I also bring up, I did so many transactions, is I post about my transactions. I talk about it. And when people understand that you know what you're doing, they're going to refer you things if they're out of that area. but you've got to actually know what the hell you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it's okay. Just keep going through the process and you'll get it. So I text the lady and I said, hey, this is it right on. This is the actual text. It's like, hey, how you doing, Karen? Have you received have you received the offer? She thinks it's Chris. If you see this, it's not. And I was like, no, I'm his Lakeland partner, right? My name is Franklin. Immediately she goes into, hey, I'm okay with holding a note and I believe in installing payments. And I was like, goal. If you know anything about creative financing, that is basically like, to me, that's like we're going on the first date and she's already proposing. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I guess we're not going to Applebee's. All right. We're definitely going to Chili's. Okay. So,
You really know how to treat your women, Franklin.
well, you gotta treat them good at Applebee's and Chili's, because then how they act there is how they're gonna act at McDonald's. Okay. So
Oh, it goes downhill on the second
yeah,
day.
it goes downhill, because then I got to see if they could really hang. And then after about a year and a half, then we'll upgrade to a steakhouse. Okay. So other than that, it's not going to happen. So,
Oh, Lord.
um, so from here, I knew that she was motivated and there was something there, and I'm looking forward to it. So this is how the lead started: referral, text conversation, and now we're setting up an appointment. And so with this appointment, I'm starting to find out this is the actual picture. This is Karen here, and this is her mother, Nancy. Now, why that means a lot as well, my mom passed away when I was 10 years old. And because of that, I'm adopted. Well, I've never met a seller named my mom's name, which was Nancy. So right off the back, I was like, this is cool. This is like the first time I ever met a seller the same name as my mom. This is neat. All right. And she had dementia as well. This beautiful lady. She was doing puzzles, and it was just a really cool transaction when I met her. But when I started talking to her, and this is the conversation of the phone, and then meeting her, I understood. Look, the house was too big. This was her family house. This was Karen's family house, 4,000 square foot home, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and they were the original owners of the 9 acre parcel from 1960s. Okay. So
How,
right off the back,
hey,
if
Franklin,
you're a real estate investor and you hear this, you're like, man, if the numbers work, I know we got a deal. Like this should be a deal. The original owners, like, this should be a deal.
hey,
So
Franklin,
yeah,
quick question.
yes,
How
sir.
rural was this? Were the other parcels surrounding this also 9 acres, or was this like an unusually large parcel in the middle of sort of more density?
Yeah, this is like a lot. This is more like suburbia area.
Hmm.
So the density was there. And then I'll go over some pictures as well of what I learned, right? All right, real quick. I know you're still listening. So I just want to let you know my goal in life is to make a difference in this country. And I know that we can do that by you stepping up. If you're a true investor that wants to be a true developer, now is the time. We can work together. Apply to work with me. Possibly we could partner on deals. Probably you can be a part of the program. I have no idea, but go to trueinvestors.com right now to see if you can actually get into the system or not. The second thing is too, if you have a piece of land or you have a property that you want to sell, I may be interested in it. So please go to truefastoffers.com and probably we can make it work. All right, let's get back to it. This area is not surrounded by 9 acre parcels. This is like surrounded by normal neighborhoods. And then this property stuck out like a sore thumb because right down the street as well, a Walmart just got built. So I didn't know. And just FYI, I'm going to say some language that if you don't know the language, it's okay, because I didn't know this shit either. Right. So I didn't know what an anchor store was. I didn't know, like, I actually thought was like, oh, that's a store that sells anchors. Like, they're like, no, that's like an anchor store is, a national brand. And so anyway, so they had an anchor store called Walmart right down the
Hmm.
street. And then this property, there was a park across the street, and then there was a gated community, and then normal homes around as well. So
Got it.
this was like that sore thumb. You're like, damn, if I could find out who the owner was, like, that
Yeah.
could be a home run. Answer some of your questions, Daniel, as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Perfect. So now let's go through the whole lead acquisition process. Did somebody have a question? Carrie? Go ahead.
Were other investors not hounding this woman for this property at this point in time?
Yes, and we'll go over that as well. So, quick answer on that one: yes, yes, and more yes. And what was going on was at the time, the mother the mother did not want to sell. And Karen didn't want to sell either. Everybody will always bother them. And she actually was under contract with a GC, but he said the numbers wouldn't make sense. At the time, she's telling me on the phone call, all this. And I'm like, I still don't even know what she wants to sell for. She didn't communicate that yet. But I was attempting to start figuring it out. But I also knew through this language right here, when she said, hey, I would be willing to hold a note, that's not common language for people who aren't investors. So I knew she was talking to other people and they brought this up to her. So that's kind of what gave it. Does that answer your question as well, Karen? If she's there. Okay, perfect. All right, so then what I automatically did as well, and this is highly recommend if you're not already doing this, make sure when you're asking the seller questions over the phone and you're setting up the appointment, always remember, just build rapport and establish trust. You've got to. You know, I used to be an Army recruiter. That's me in the middle. And the first thing we always learned was build rapport, build rapport, build rapport. Because if you say everything wrong, that's fine. If they like you, they'll still go forward. You know, so that's kind of how I always look at everything. So we scheduled an appointment, had some clear expectations. And what I always say too, and you guys can use this, whenever I'm setting that appointment, and she finally did give me a number, it was $650,000 right in the first phone call. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that if I give you 650 right now, you're willing to sign a contract today. If they hesitate or like, oh, I don't know, I don't schedule the appointment. I wait until they're ready to sign an agreement. That's me personally. Because if they're not ready, I don't want to go over there wasting my time. I want to go over there like, if I like this deal, I did all my due diligence, let's sign so we can move forward. So, Jonathan, you had a question? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Hey, sorry, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better.
Hey, now what I wanted to know is when you saw this property, did you already have the idea I'm going to develop on it? And
Hell
what
no.
was your idea going? Okay, that's I want.
Yeah,
what
I'm gonna
was
go
your
over that
idea?
too. Like, look, I want to make this super clear. I know this office, and Daniel's saying some cool things about me. You may think at that time I was an established developer. No, I did not stay at a Holiday Inn. I did not know anything dealing with development. I had no clue at that time in 2000. It was 2019 when this happened. Now a lot has changed since then, but at that time I was thinking in my head, I'm just gonna flip this house. Like, this is a golden house, golden area. And there's a gated community down the street that some properties are going for $1 million plus. And I'm like, I'm just gonna flip the house. I'm not even thinking of development. That's not even a thought in my head at all. So going back into the questions, hopefully that answers your question as well. So I'm probing her, building rapport. We establish the appointment, right? And again, remember, in my head, I'm always thinking military. So I want to be on time, want to make sure that I'm there. I want to do my due diligence before the appointment. So I start entering all the data. First thing I do is put everything into my CRM system. I start tracking, putting her information, start doing some background on the property. I'm already thinking, okay, what are the comps as a house? What's the zoning? Is there any kind of title issues? Like, I'm just doing my basic due diligence on this property, like I do every time. And then I prepare, and I have in my car is what I call the seller acquisition packet. And I always want to make sure I'm double checking that. So I'm double checking it, prior to the appointment. I'm also printing out, and I always do this, I print out a full comp report from the MLS because it's like 40 pages. And I always like doing this with the seller just because now the seller knows I'm serious. Like, hey, I'm bringing over the comps. Like, we're going to go over the value of your home or your land. So, I'm not here trying to go back and forth with you. I just want to show you this is the value, and let's see if we can create something. Right? So this is the first picture I took of the property. This is the land here. This is one side of it. And so I'm already kind of analyzing, does it have potential for what? Like, I've never dealt with a big piece of land at this time. I never dealt with a big piece of land like this before. I dealt with a lot of houses, but 9 acres that was a lot. And if you see here across the street, this was a gated community across the street. And on the other side, it had another gated community. Now, none of these houses were like multi-million dollars, but they were still like in this area, 500 to 700,000 is super high end. I live in Lakeland, Florida. It's between Tampa and Orlando. Amazing area, but cost of living over here relative to Tampa and Orlando is medium. It's like medium, kind of low-ish, right? But down the street, there was some $1 million homes. and it was probably about a half a mile away. So I meet with her, and then first thing I do is I'm looking at the house. I'm just seeing the house. Is there anything up with the house? Can we flip this house? Can we rehab the house? So I'm looking at it on site, off site, just evaluating everything. So I always take videos and photos. And just FYI, this is literally the best video recorder you could ever get. If you don't have it already, it's called a DJI 3. This is what I use every time. And I always have this on me, and I have them sign a waiver, like allowing me to record, because I like looking back at my game film of what did I do during the transaction? How did I negotiate it? Could I have been better? And I take photos, and I have a secondary phone. I take photos with my phone. So I
Every
have
appointment.
this recording. Go ahead.
Every
What's the-
appointment.
Every single appointment.
Does anybody ever say no? They don't want to be filmed?
Karen did. I didn't get this on film. I got a ton of photos. And so if they
Her
say,
name was
hey,
Karen.
if you don't mind, did you hear me, Daniel? Go ahead. I didn't hear you.
No, I said, and her name was Karen.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah, that's literally her thing.
We have any Karens on the call. No offense.
So what was interesting, and I didn't start recording until probably a couple of years ago. So not every single person ever did, but a good amount. And now nobody has an issue with it, because I always say, I start off the conversation, hey, I'm recording everything more for security purposes and for myself. And the main thing, and if you're a man or a woman, I recommend getting the camera. And the main reason why is I've had 2 instances that people show up in lingerie. And I was like, oh, hell no.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. I mean, I'm fine. One lady was a lot older. If they were a little bit different, probably I would have went inside. But I'm single. I'm allowed. So, but yeah, you just want to record. And the other thing is, it helps legal purposes. As I've done a lot bigger transactions in development, the numbers start getting a lot higher. So you have to make sure that you have video, you have photos, you have everything pertaining to that agreement, because they will possibly come back if they find out you're making millions and they only made $1 million. For some reason, they always want more. At least that's how it's been for me. So just make sure that you're capturing as much as you can. All right, perfect. So we started the conversation with a kitchen table negotiation. Thanks for spending time with Real Estate Geniuses. I really do appreciate it. So what you can do to help us support this channel is, number one, if you're ready to be a true investor to a true developer, go to trueinvestors.com right now. If you have a property for sale, or if you have a piece of land that you want to sell, go to truefastoffers.com. And now I also want to kind of tease you too, for episode or part 2 of this, we're going over the kitchen table negotiations, exactly how I created the creative contract only on 2 pages. And yes, you could sign a multi-million-dollar deal on 2 pages. Even though when I bought it was only $650, but still everything was done in 2 pages and it was all creative. So hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, please like, share, do that comment thing. That would be great. And I'll see you on part 2. Bye.